right, guys, welcome back to the Why We Disney podcast. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. We are so pumped for today's episode. We have a very special guest for you. She does so much for the Disney community as a whole. She serves such a big purpose, and we want to really shine a light on her business and everything that she does. So before we go ahead and get into that, I do want to remind you of just a couple of things. Make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, which is at Why We Disney Podcast. Also like our Facebook page. And if you would like, you can also shoot us over an email, and that is whywedisney@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think about the podcast. If you have a topic that you'd like us to research and discuss on the podcast, we would love to do that for you. So we can't wait to hear from you guys. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. You guys are going to love our special guest today.
Hey everyone, we are back with the Why We Disney podcast. This is your co-host Kara here. We also have Kaycee.
Always.
And we have a very, very special guest. I've been so excited to have her on the podcast. She is a friend of mine and my favorite travel agent, Hannah.
Hi, you're so sweet.
Hannah, we are so excited to have you here. I just think it's awesome that you're going to be able to answer a lot of questions for our listeners. But before we get started with all of that, tell our listeners where they can find you, like on the social medias, you know.
Yeah, the social medias. I got you. Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. My username is @littlebitofdisney_. I am also on Facebook, and my Facebook username is Hannah Little Disney Travel Professional. And then you can also go to my website, which is littlebitofdisney.com.
Awesome. And so tell us, we obviously know you're a big Disney fan. What's your Disney background? What's your home park? We want to know the whole story.
Okay, I'll tell you all the Disney things.
Okay.
So I have loved Disney my whole life. Like, I can't remember a time where I wasn't watching the movies or loving the characters. I was the kid who set up all of my stuffed animals to watch The Little Mermaid and The Lion King hundreds of times with me in the living room. But I was super, super blessed because my aunt was actually a cast member when I was a kid. She was the blue flying bird in the Lion King show in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that bird.
I know. So even cuter was she met her husband in the show, and he was one of the tumble monkeys. And I just think that's so cute.
What? Disney making
Yes.
magic. Ugh.
Yes.
We love Disney love on the Why We Disney podcast.
Yes. So the Disney magic is like in my blood. But that was back in the day when cast members could actually get people into the parks for free. So my family and I would get to go to Disney totally for free. My aunt would take us around, and we would get to meet characters, like skip the line and meet characters. I remember going backstage to meet all of the cast members in the Lion King show. I have pictures with them. So I think that's kind of what started my love for the theme parks. And then I actually didn't go again until I was an adult with my husband for our 1-year wedding anniversary trip. I'm still not sure how I convinced him to do that. But we had a great time. It was the most fun trip. And I think that is what kind of reestablished my love and turned into an obsession for the Disney theme park. So Walt Disney World is my home park. And yes, I am just a Disney obsessed human.
Where do you live, Hannah?
So I currently live in Jacksonville, North Carolina. My husband is in the Navy, so that's where we are stationed. So we are about 10 hours away from Disney World right now.
Cool.
We'll tell him that we said thank you for his service.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely
I will.
awesome.
Thank you.
So that's such a cool Disney background. And we became friends on Instagram, and then I was like, oh my gosh, Hannah's a travel agent? What? And to be honest, I have never used a travel agent before, ever. Like, Hannah, you're my first one. Yeah, because I haven't traveled that much. So there was no need. And I didn't know, we're going to get into this, but I didn't know that like Disney travel agent services were free. So like when you were saying all your stuff, I was like, of course we're going to use Hannah. But I want to know, like, how did you get started being a travel agent?
Yeah, I would be happy to talk about that. That's so crazy that I was your first travel agent. I
Yeah.
feel so honored by that. Um, so yeah, basically after my husband and I went on that first trip to Disney, I just became so obsessed with the planning of it all. And I actually posted on my Instagram the other day, I found the notebook that I used to plan our first trip, and it was just like pages and pages of crazy plans and like things timed down to the very minute. I mean, I was that crazy planning person. So slowly over time, as we began to go back to Disney more and more, I just had friends and family who would ask me Disney questions, and I was helping people with fast passes, and people were asking for dining recommendations, and I was basically planning people's trips for free. And I realized I was spending most of my time doing Disney things, and I just thought, there's got to be a way for me to make money doing this. So I did a bunch of research into just the travel industry and kind of what jobs you can have working for Disney remotely, and felt like travel agent would be a really good fit for me. So from there, just did some really good research into agencies and applied to agencies that I thought I would fit well with. And here I am 2 years later. I'm still doing it and I love it.
Oh, that is so awesome. Now, do you do this full time, or is this like a, part-time fun thing?
So I guess I would say it is full time. This is what I put all of my energy into. Yeah, all of my energy, all of my effort goes into this. So yes, I would say full time.
That's great. And
Yeah.
I know this question, but I want our listeners to know. So do you only plan Disney vacations?
No. So I do specialize in Disney branded vacations. So that's Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, and Alani, which is the resort in Hawaii. If you want to niche it down even more, it's basically Walt Disney World is my main specialty. But I also plan cruises on Carnival, Royal Caribbean. I mean, any cruise line you want to go on, all inclusive vacations, Europe trips. I mean, any vacation you want to go on, I can make it happen for you.
Oh, so cool. And I think
That is
that's,
so cool.
yeah, I think that's so important to know and especially I know you're in, the Disney Instagram community, but Hannah does more than just Disney vacations. So
Yes,
if
that is
your
very true.
husbands and your significant others want to go somewhere else, you guys can still book with Hannah.
Yes, I would love that. And I think people are always like surprised by that because the majority of what I post is Disney. And yes, that is like the majority of what I want to be booking. But yes, I do everything else. Anything you want to go, if you want to go to Mexico or the Caribbean, we
Ooh.
can make it happen.
All right, girl. All right. Well, my other travel agent question is, what's your favorite part about being a travel agent?
I think my favorite part about being a travel agent, I think I might have to split it into two parts. The first being that I get to create magic for people. I think the ultimate dream would be to be a cast member at Disney World. Like, I don't even care. I would sweep the parking lots. Like, as long as I get to say I work, for the Disney company. And I think that's a huge part of what cast members do is they just create magic for families. So a big part of my job is doing that, is adding in little extra details and just being there as someone who can answer questions, and maybe calm people down from their vacation anxieties. So I love getting to do that. And then I would say the other half of that is I really have a passion for finding people who have gone on horrible Disney trips and planning them a trip and then completely changing their mind. People who are like, I will never go to Disney again. It was miserable. We didn't get to do anything. And then having them go on a trip that I planned and it just totally changing their mind and them becoming Disney lovers. I would say those are probably my favorite two things about being a travel agent.
Oh, that's so great. I love that.
Hannah, I am so glad that you said that because that's kind of the heart behind the Why We Disney podcast is like people who maybe have done Disney and they come back and they're like, gosh, I spent a ton of money and that was terrible. Like it was hot. Like we waited in all these lines. Like you just hear it I don't want to say often because Disney truly is great, but when I hear those reviews, like it makes me super sad and like I want to help those people, you know?
Yes, that is exactly how I feel. And I think one of the things that upsets me the most is when people come back and they say that the food they had was terrible. I'm like, where did you eat? Because that's one of my
Right.
favorite things about going to Disney.
That is so funny. I just love that you said that. I love that we're like uplifting like you and your business. So if you don't mind, let's take a few minutes and just talk about like the business, like logistics of what you do. So like for instance, if I'm a new client that books with you, what should I expect? Like let's say I book 6 months to a year out even. Like what's the follow-up look like? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so the process of working with me is super simple. You really have nothing to worry about, which is great. But I'll actually back up a little bit if that's okay.
That's okay.
The process of getting started with me is I'll either do a phone consultation and get some information from you, or you can just fill out my request a quote form. And from there, I will create a custom quote for you. I'll normally give clients several options unless their heart is just set on one specific resort hotel. And then I will create as many quotes for you as it takes until we find the perfect option, the perfect vacation fit for you and your family. And then to book a Disney trip is only a $200 reservation. And then let's say, you've booked a year out. So I will check in with you every now and then. I definitely try not to bother people, but I'll check in like maybe once a month. And then once we hit the 90-day mark, that's when we kind of start to hit the ground running. We'll start talking about dining reservations. We'll make sure you have your park pass reservations, that you've ordered your magic bands. And it just goes on and on from there, from making sure final payment is paid to me making your customized daily itinerary. And then I stick with you throughout the trip and even when you return home to make sure that everything went well, that you had a good time. And I love getting to hear from people what their favorite part was, if they did have any issues. And yeah, that is the process.
Yeah, I think that's really cool that you follow up periodically. But once you hit like that 90-day mark, I mean, the game is on, right?
Yes, it's serious business at that point.
Right. I mean, it's dining, it's fast passes, it's all the things. So I just love that for one, like you walk with the family through that. And I think that speaks volumes just like for your business. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and I feel like that is a really valuable part of working with a travel agent is, you can do what I did when I was a Disney newbie and you can do all of the research. You can watch all the YouTube videos. You can read all the blog posts, or you can come to somebody like me who already has that expert knowledge and you can just ask me a question like, hey, what's your favorite table service restaurant in Magic Kingdom? And I can just give you an answer based on what my favorite is and based on, what I think your family would like. So
Yeah.
yes, I think there are just so many benefits to working with a travel agent.
Right. And what I love too is that like every trip you book is so stinking different because you got like 3-year-old kids and then you have like adult trips and then you
Oh my
have
gosh,
like
yes.
like everyone is so different. I bet you've never booked like a similar trip twice.
Yep, that is very true. It's like you have families who have teenagers, but they also have tiny kids. So you have to figure out like, oh gosh, when the teenagers are on the rides with half of the family, what are the little kids going to do? And then you have multi-generational trips with grandparents who maybe can't ride everything. So yes, they're all very different. And I think that's what makes part of it so fun is every day is different.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I think that's really cool. So, like, what does a typical day look like for you as a travel agent? Like, wake up, what's the first thing you do?
Well, I've been trying not to look at my phone first thing when I wake up because usually I will see some sort of email that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to attend to this right now. So thankfully, I work from home, I work remotely. This is my business. So my hours are totally centered around what my day looks like, what I need to get done. But normally I try to be at my desk at 9 o'clock by the latest. and I will work on emails. And again, every day looks totally different. Like one day I can be, sitting down at my computer at 5:45 a.m. to be making dining reservations for clients. A lot of days I'm making quotes, I'm booking trips, making modifications, making payments. It really depends on the day, but it's super flexible, which is what I love about it.
Yeah. The flexibility of it is just awesome.
Yes, it's the best. Like just being able to pick up my laptop and my planner and like I can go anywhere and work is the best.
Oh, I think that's the coolest thing. So if someone like wanted to do what you do, what is like the biggest piece of advice that you would give them up front?
Yeah, so I'm kind of harsh with my advice because I think that people they hear like, "Oh my gosh, you can work from home and everything's flexible." And yes, that's true, but I always tell people like be prepared to work really, really hard. And if you're not willing to work really, really hard, then maybe choose something else.
Sure.
Be prepared that you'll probably not make very much money, if at all, for the first year because you've got to build up your client list from the ground up. I mean, I started with absolutely nothing, just my family and friends, and that led to more leads, which led to more referrals and so on. And then I would also say pick something to sell and focus on that for at least the first year and make sure it's something that you are super, super passionate about because there are definitely times when this job is hard and overwhelming and people are unhappy or, the parks closed down for 4 months. So being able to like stay passionate about it no matter what is super important. But if you can like persevere and do those things, I think this is a fantastic job for anybody.
I think that's really cool. And one question that I want to ask that's like I'm super excited to hear. And like listeners, if you have never booked through a Disney travel agent before, I want you to like perk your ears up. So the question is like, what is the most common mistake you see when a lot of people choose not to book with a travel agent? So someone's like, no, I don't want to do it. I could do it myself. It's totally fine. Like, what's the most common mistake that you see?
That is a great question. That is tough to answer. I see a lot of funny things that clients ask me, and I have to remind myself, and my husband also reminds me of this, but I'm so immersed in the Disney world that I forget this is not normal for most people. Like most people don't read about like Disney news all day, every day. So like the stuff that I know, most people don't know. So I know like people get really confused that Disney World is 4 parks. I'm trying to think of funny things that people have asked me. People have asked me to make sure I include Harry Potter in their itinerary. I'm like, that is at Universal Studios, which is a different theme park.
Oh no.
Someone asked me if the castle was in Animal Kingdom. Someone else, I asked a client recently where they wanted to dine and they said medieval times. I was like, okay, that's not at Disney. So I think the biggest thing is I think people just don't realize how big of a beast Disney World is. There is so much to it and so much planning that's involved. Because, I mean, there are 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, a shopping district. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about like the ESPN Wide World of Sports and all that stuff, but I don't think people realize how much goes into planning a Disney vacation. So I think when you're not working with a travel agent, you, number one, miss out on a lot of magic that you could have had in your trip, and you just aren't as informed.
Yeah, sure. I would definitely, yeah, absolutely. I always say this to people that ask me. I'm like, book through a travel agent because they don't miss a beat. Like,
Yes.
I guarantee, like, you will miss a beat and not even mean to. Like, it's the thing, like 60 days for fast passes. Like, I know they're not a thing right particularly now, but like you wait 15 days to make your fast passes before your trip. And like, they're kind of all not you don't get to choose from the good ones.
Yes, that's so true.
it's those little things that you just never miss a beat when you book. I mean, obviously when you book with Hannah, but with a travel agent, I just hard respect for you, girl.
And
Yeah.
also,
Thank you.
when you're booking with a travel agent, I want to say first, you're supporting a small shop,
Yep.
which is,
Right.
awesome in and of itself. But even for people that are very into the Disney realm, as I would say I am now, I am no Disney expert. I say that on the podcast all the time. I'm no Disney expert. But how great is it to have someone else looking at your trip with you, to have another set of eyes? I know when I went to my trip in November, and Hannah, you were my agent back then. We were both trying to get certain dining reservations. So it was nice to know that not just I was doing it, that someone else was like actually helping me and having another set of eyes. And it's just nice to have that support.
Yeah, it's always good to have someone have your back. And I totally agree with what you're saying, Kaycee, is like, this is your vacation. You shouldn't have to be monitoring discounts and, scrolling the Disney news every day to try to find answers. Like, that's my job. Like, for example, the news about extra magic hours being canceled came out today, and I've had a client. I know.
That's a whole different podcast. I can't.
I know. But I've had a client who has asked me several times about it, and I'm like, I promise you, as soon as I hear about it, I will let you know. So I immediately picked up my phone and texted her and said, hey, this news just came out. Just wanted to let you know in case that changes your plans at all. So it's always, always good to have someone have your back like that.
Yeah. Hannah, you're so amazing. I truly love that.
Oh, I think you guys are amazing.
All right, guys, we're going to pause just for a quick sponsor break, but we will be right back with Hannah.
All right, everyone, we are back with Kaycee and Hannah. And as you guys know, the Why We Disney podcast posted some questions that we could ask Hannah here on the podcast. So, Hannah, we have 3 questions here for you today from our listeners. And here is the first one. And this one this is coming from someone famous. It's from my mom. Hi,
oh my
Mom.
gosh, I can't believe it.
I know, but I think this was really good. She said, what are 1 or 2 things that are available to you in Disney that aren't heavily advertised?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one. That aren't
Sorry to put you on the
heavily
spot there.
advertised. No, that's okay. This is exciting. I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously, the Disney magic. I feel like you don't have to really do much to sell a Disney vacation. Everyone in the world knows the Disney brand and knows the parks, and everybody wants to go. But I think what Disney doesn't talk about is the feeling that you get when you're there. And I think that's a reason why so many of us love it and just keep going back. And that is just, as cliche as it sounds, that's just the magic of Disney right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's a really good answer. And so our second one is, which resort do you suggest to stay at for a value trip? And then which resort for like a deluxe treat yourself trip?
Okay.
Treat
yourself. So I would say for value, my favorite is Pop Century. It has a great location. The whole resort has been fully refurbished, so the rooms are super nice. And then on top of that, it has direct access to the Skyliner. So that is super convenient when it comes to transportation. The Skyliner is a game changer with Disney transportation. So definitely Pop Century for value. And then for deluxe, I don't know, it's so tough because it's dependent on what you want to experience, but I am currently obsessed with Wilderness Lodge. I think that it is so beautiful. It has great location. It's right next to Magic Kingdom, and you can just hop on the boat, and it's about a 5-minute boat ride. And the boat ride is fun in itself.
Yeah.
And I think just it feels like you're in another world when you're at Wilderness Lodge. Like you kind of forget that you are at Disney. So that's my current deluxe favorite right now. It kind of changes.
I've never seen Wilderness Lodge.
Oh
Okay,
my
fun fact,
gosh.
like in person, I've only seen 5 resorts, maybe.
Really?
I think, yeah, it's like maybe 5 or 6. I've only ever stayed at 2. I've only ever stayed at All Star Movies and then Pop Century with my most recent trip. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
I tell people if you can afford it, I always tell people to take a rest day in the middle of your trip and just use it to resort hop or go to Disney Springs. Because I think, and maybe this is a good answer to the previous question, but I think going to the resorts is so much fun. And I know it's kind of difficult right now because to be able to park at one, you have to have a confirmed dining reservation. But there's an
Right.
easy way to get around that, which I did on my last trip was we had a breakfast reservation at the Contemporary. So we hung out there, had breakfast, loved the Contemporary, got on the monorail, went to Grand Floridian and just walked around. Then we walked over to the Poly, got some Dole Whip, sat outside. Then we took the boat over to Wilderness Lodge. So, there's a way around those little rules right now, but I think that's something that people just don't take advantage of, and it is so much fun to see all the resorts.
Yeah, that's actually okay. So the upcoming trip in March, if I don't go before then, which I really want to,
Yeah.
my next trip in March, that is on our list. So we have a resort day planned, and I want to do like a little monorail, little hop
Yay!
thing
Oh, that would
and
be
see.
so
You
fun.
have
Yes.
to. Oh my gosh, you have to.
Oh,
Yes,
I need to see the Grand Floridian in person, guys.
you do. It will take your breath away. It is beautiful.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And
Okay.
Like
another,
I literally feel like royalty. Like when I walk through those
yes,
doors, I'm like, yeah, that's right, I live here.
this is my home.
Oh
And
my
another great
gosh.
way to see resorts is to get on the Skyliner too, because you can get on at Pop Century. Let's say if you're staying there, you can go to Caribbean Beach, you can go to Riviera. I mean, you can ride over to Epcot and then walk over to Boardwalk and Beach Club. So it's super fun. That's like one of my favorite things about going to Disney.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
I'm trying to stay at the Riviera. Like,
Yes,
for
me
real.
too.
And then our last listener question is, when they return, do you suggest getting a meal plan or just paying out of pocket?
So that is dependent on how much you want to eat. Currently, meal plans are not available for 2021. But
Right.
just so you know, if you do book a trip with me, that is something that I can add on to your vacation package at any time if they do become available. But I would say if you are a foodie like I am, like if eating is one of your favorite parts of the trip, then the dining plan is going to be a really good bang for your buck just because there's so much that's included with it. If you get like the standard Disney dining plan, you get no, I'm sorry, you get one quick service meal a day and you get one table service meal a day. And then you also get 2 snacks on top of that. And the great thing about the meals is that it includes an appetizer, an entree, a dessert, and a drink. And the drink can be alcoholic. So it is a great bang for your buck. But if you don't think you're going to eat that much, or if you're someone who brings snacks into the parks, then I would not recommend it.
Sure.
Good to know.
Yes,
Makes sense.
lots of food.
That's cool. I've actually never done the dining plan before, and I don't know. I just don't eat that much. So I don't know if it would be like a good option for me. Maybe like if I went with my entire family, but
Yeah.
Okay, so fun
Definitely.
fact. I did do the dining plan, not on my past trip, but like in 2019 with my mom. And
Yeah.
I wrote everything down that we got, and I was trying to get the most expensive thing on the menu. I always got the alcoholic drink. I was making sure we used all of our stack credits before we left. Like,
You have to.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the way to do
yeah.
it.
you definitely do. Now, I don't know if we saved any money, but I will say the conveniency of just hitting my magic band was really nice.
Yeah.
So when you break it down into numbers, I'm not sure. In my next upcoming trip, we obviously won't have a meal plan. So I'm interested to, again, track everything. Y'all know me and my Excel sheets. I'm interested to track everything and see how that plans out. But yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, I don't really think it's like a great money saving hack. I think it is, like you were saying, more so just for the convenience. Like, if you want your trip to kind of feel like an all-inclusive Disney trip, then the dining plan is awesome because, yeah, all you do is scan your Magic Band and you're done. Go eat at the most expensive restaurants and you're good to go.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think that's super cool. So Hannah, let's have some fun. I want to play like a quick game with you. And Kara came up with these would you rather questions, and like they're legitimately hard.
Oh my gosh,
like,
I'm so excited.
And I was like, oh no, like I have to think about these for like 5 minutes. So let's play a quick game. And Kara, I want you to answer these too. This would be fun. All right. Ready? First one. Live in the Cinderella castle or live in the Beast castle?
Oh, Cinderella castle for sure.
Oh. Kara, what about you?
Okay, it's so hard, guys. I'm really 50-50 on this because my like glitzy glammy like want to be famous side, want to be like an actual queen side says Cinderella castle, but like my more like mysterious, you know, unique, diverse side is like, yeah, the Beast castle, duh. So honestly, probably Cinderella's castle, but it's a hard toss.
Yeah.
So y'all, I'm going to flip this. So and like Cinderella is my girl. Like she is my favorite Disney princess.
Aww.
Like love my girl Cinderella. Yes. So it's weird that I would say the Beast castle, but like when I ate at the Be Our Guest restaurant, I'm just picturing it in my head, like all of the tables cleared out. And like,
oh my gosh,
do you know
can
what I'm
you
saying?
imagine?
And like actual furniture and like TVs around. Like I live there, guys. Like I live there. I picked the Beast Castle, which is huge for me because I love Cinderella.
That is interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's big.
Very interesting.
Yeah. All right, number 2. So have unlimited snack credits or unlimited fast passes. This one's easy for me.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to go with snack credits.
Kaycee, what about you?
I love Disney snacks.
Oh, I would do fast passes and skip the snacks all day long.
Now, Hannah,
Kara, what about you?
Hannah, you said you're a foodie. Is there a specific snack that you have to get when you're at Disney?
I feel like it changes every time I go, but the main one is always Dole Whip because I don't care. Like, I know you can get pineapple soft serve at other places. I mean, we have a frozen yogurt place around the corner that has it, but it is just not the same. Like, it is missing some sort of magical Disney ingredient. So definitely Dole Whip is the one that I always have to get, no matter how cold it is. Like, if it's 40 degrees, I'll still get it.
That's funny. Kara, what about you with this one?
Okay, so I did think about this, like, with some thought. And I'd have to say I would rather have unlimited snack credits because they come out with new snacks every season.
Yep.
And I need to try them all. While I can wait in line, you know, once a year for a new ride.
Yes, and it's saving you a ton of money.
Yeah.
Very true.
Because fast passes are free. As of right now, or they were.
Oh my gosh.
So bad. All right. The next one is work as a character performer or work as a Disney photo pass photographer.
Okay, are we talking character performer like a face character, or are we talking like be Minnie Mouse?
Ooh, both. Well, I don't know.
Either.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with be a Disney character. What do y'all say?
I don't know. This one was hard for me.
That is really tough.
Because like they're both just like my dream jobs. Like at Disney, if I could do anything,
Yeah.
I would rather. Character performer. Yeah.
Yeah, and being a character performer is like a lot of pressure, but like that's a really cool job.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's cool. And also, like, it depends on where I'm at too with the PhotoPass photographer thing. Because, like, if you're in that spot in Hollywood Studios between Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster, like that real sunny spot right there in the middle. Oh man.
I
Yeah.
love how Kaycee knows like the one specific spot in the park that's like 1,000,000 degrees.
Yeah. Or in Toy Story Land. That would be miserable.
Oh, right there at the sun.
Yes.
Yes.
Toy Story Land is
no shit.
hotter than the surface of the sun.
Kara, what about you? Which one would you choose?
Oh, it's not even a question. Hands down, a character performer. But with my singing background, I would love to be a character entertainer, like in Finding Nemo the musical or
my gosh,
Beauty and the
that would be
Beast
so
live.
cool.
One of those.
Oh my gosh, Kara, you would kill that.
Specifically one that has air conditioning. I'm all about that.
Right.
One of the indoor options.
Yes. But definitely character performer for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kara, you would kill that job. I know it and I believe it.
Thanks, girl.
All right, so this is the very last one. So never be able to stay at a resort or never be able to visit Magic Kingdom.
Oh my gosh.
Horrible.
I'm
That-
sorry.
you came
I
up
was
with
trying to
these.
make it hard.
Kara, that is blasphemous.
I know.
Oh my gosh. I
Oh.
think I would have to say not stay in a resort hotel because to me, like Cinderella Castle is the icon of Disney World. Like I couldn't go forever and not see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
That's
No, I'm picking
tough.
the same thing. And honestly, if it was like Animal Kingdom or Epcot, I would say, yeah, I would definitely pick staying in a resort.
Yeah.
But since it's Magic Kingdom, I just can't do that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I agree. If it was Animal Kingdom, I would pick never see Animal Kingdom. So sorry, Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. Kara, what about you?
Yeah, see, I tried to make this hard and I didn't think I'd have to answer these questions. Okay, so gosh. I'm going to pick never be able to visit Magic Kingdom, and here's why.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
Blasphemy.
Wow.
I absolutely love Main Street. I love everything about Magic Kingdom. That is home. But the overall like atmosphere, like I'm at Disney. I don't want to go to Disney and then just come back home to my house. You know what I mean? I want to stay at the resort. I don't want to leave.
You want to be in
So
the
like
Disney
the
bubble.
resort feeling is like, you know, yeah, that bubble. And if I can still see Mickey and Minnie somewhere else, you know, the castle, that's great too. But it all started with the mouse. So if I can just see Mickey, that's what's going to break it down at the very end to me.
That's true. I get that.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Okay. We are also different.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's really cool. So that was a fun little game. I loved that. Maybe I pick the questions next time because mine will not be near as hard.
Okay, yeah, Kaycee, you do it.
Cool. Well, so Hannah, the Why We Disney podcast, we're all about like uplifting small shops and we're encouraging our listeners to shop small because you guys work super hard and a lot of times you work and people don't see how hard you work. So we want to uplift you guys and encourage you. So I want to know, just for us and our listeners, how can we support you best? What can we do to uplift you and grow your business?
Well, that is super sweet, first of all. Thank you. But definitely book your trip with a travel agent, even if it's not me. There's so much good that comes out of shopping small, like you were saying, and shopping with a small business. So yeah, always book your trip with a travel agent, no matter where you go. But even on top of that, when it comes to Instagram, you know, that's one of my biggest marketing tools. I get a lot of clients from that, and I'm super thankful. So I always try to interact with other small shops and small businesses and making sure I'm commenting and saving their posts and sharing and doing all of those things. So anytime you interact with me on social media, I am super thankful for that.
Yeah, I think that's good. So connecting with you on social media, engaging with your post, maybe referring friends and family to you.
Yeah.
I know that's like huge business driver as well.
Yes.
So we'll definitely make sure just to keep shouting you out on our social media pages, because I mean, we know how hard you work, and I hope that for our listeners, like, we put a face to the business and not just like a girl who is really pretty and she looks famous on Instagram. Like, they've heard your story now.
Yeah.
Like, they're invested in who you are and what you do. So we hope that that's powerful and that makes an impact for your business.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much. That really does mean a lot.
I also just want to add that everything that you can do to support, even if you're not going to Disney, obviously booking with Hannah is great, but anything else you can do to support, a referral, liking a page, following her on Instagram, these are all things that are free. And I just want to shout that out because I know a lot of people are struggling to support small shops and small businesses, especially right now, still during this global pandemic. They're like, oh, I can't go out to this restaurant or I can't buy from this small shop. But there are so many things that you can still do to support for free. And that's just a couple of them.
Yep. That's so true.
Love.
Thanks, guys.
No, thank you.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much for joining us. And before you go, just remind everyone where they can find you on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff one more time.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so much fun. You can find me on Instagram at littlebitofdisney_. Again, my Facebook is Hannah Little Disney Travel Professional. And then my website is littlebitofdisney.com.
And for all of you guys listening, if you hop over to our YouTube, don't forget to subscribe first. All of her information will be in the bio of that YouTube episode. So you can find her and hit the link and make sure to book with Hannah. But as it comes to our Why We Disney podcast, Hannah, thank you again for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and listeners, email us. We want to talk to you. Email us at whywedisney@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your stories, and everything else. But for now, this is Kara. We also have Kaycee.
Hi.
And Hannah.
Hi.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.